Very well. We come to question 16 that Deputy Higgins will ask of the Minister for Children and Housing. Deputy.
Thank you, sir. Will the Minister provide his summary assessment of the Children's Service, stating in particular where it has improved since he took office and where it still needs to improve? And in the latter case, will he state what steps he proposes to take to ensure such improvement?
Yes, Minister.
Thank you, sir. My summary assessment of the Children's Service is that it's in a much better place than it was 3 years ago, but there's still a long way to go before we can be truly satisfied with where we are. More important than my personal assessment of what's going well and what isn't are, I think, the independent assessments. The Deputy will know when I took office as Minister for Children, Ofsted performed an inspection straight away. And then they performed a second inspection last year to follow up and note where there may or may not have been progress. They noted improvements specifically in the fostering and adoption service, strengthening of the multi-agency safeguarding hub, and better response for children at risk of exploitation. But they also highlighted areas where improvements were still needed, and these included the recruitment and stability of the workforce, extra support for young people leaving care, and improving the early help offer. Since their inspection report came out, I think we have made some good progress specifically in those areas. There's now a permanent leadership team and we're relying less on agency staff, which is good, particularly for the young people that have relationships with their social workers. The care leavers offer is now in place. And early help has improved, and members will be aware, of course, that we founded the Children and Families Hub to support that earlier this year. The COVID crisis has made progressing some of those further difficult, and in continuing to try and improve on those areas that we know we've got to improve on, I meet regularly with my officers and with stakeholders, including often with young people that have been through the service themselves, to work out what more we can do to improve the service.
Much. Well, then, final supplementary for Deputy Higgins.
Thank you, sir. The Minister's come up with a list, sir, but he is aware, and I know he's aware, that many of the users of the service do not trust it and are in fear of losing their children because of the action of some of the social workers, and have resorted to taping all conversations with any social worker. And does he think that is a satisfactory thing where people have to tape conversations? And furthermore, is it satisfactory that people who do that are actually threatened that they may be breaking the data protection law, which they are not?
So the ideal situation is that we get to a position where Children's Service is not seen by the mass of the population as being overly intrusive or acting in an improper way, and it's going to take a long time to get to that position. And it certainly is the case that there are parents out there who will be very worried when there's an intervention into their family life by a government service. And that doesn't mean that we should hold back when we think there are risks to children's well-being. And sometimes we will have to make interventions that will always be unwelcome. And frankly, there's nothing we can ever do about that. And we shouldn't be scared of intervening to protect children where we think that's necessary. But yes, it is the case that work has to be done to improve the relationships between service users and the service, where they may have a reasonably frequent relationship. And the way that we'll do that is by focusing on early help and intervention, which by its nature will be more positive because it will be about help rather than seen about being about punishment or that sort of thing. So, you know, I accept fully that there's a long way to go, and I have met with some people who I know have had difficulties with this, and we take into account what feedback we get, and it's a difficult journey to get to a position where trust will be rebuilt after years of things not being very good, but we have to keep trying.
Is trust brought by threatening people who record conversations?
So I'm sorry, Deputy, that was the answer to the final question. We come to question